What is up, YouTube? We're back with another YouTube video, and we're here with a Bunker E15 Legend Lost Sector guide for Season of the Witch. Now to find this, you want to go to your Destinations tab and go to the left side of your screen and go to Europa. When you spawn in, pick Eventide Ruins. Then when you actually spawn in, drop here and turn around, and you'll see the entrance to a building here. This is where the Lost Sector is going to be located. So you can see as you make your way inside, just jump over this and you will then find a flag banner type thing back here. Now if you don't see this or the icon on your map, that does mean you have to go complete it normally. So just keep running down here, and then after doing some running, you will encounter the Bunker E15 Lost Sector. It should say it now, but there we go. Yeah, Bunker E15. And then you'll just keep going through here. And then you're going to notice as I go here, there's going to be some red health bar enemies. That's your cue to just start killing all the enemies, kill the boss, do the chest at the end, and you will unlock Legend and Master difficulty for this Lost Sector. So let's make our way back up here so we can go over the modifiers that we have active for this activity. So let's just do some more jumps. And then right here. So we're going to go over the modifiers. We have Shielded Foes to face combatants with Void Shields. We have Legend modifiers, locked loadout and extra shields, equipment locked, limited revives, barrier and overload champions, void threat, 25% increase to incoming void damage, shocker when defeated, goblins spawn arc pools that cause damage over time, overcharged weapons, weapon overcharges from the seasonal artifact are active in this activity, kinetic weapons do increased damage when your subclass element matches an active surge, strand surge, 25% bonus to outgoing strand damage, and solar surge, 25% bonus to outgoing solar damage. Then overcharged grenade launcher, a 25% bonus to damage for all grenade launchers. Then enhancement cores, uncommon, and if completed solo, exotic head armor is rare. Recommended power is 1830, but 1810 and above you should be just fine. So let's get into the loadout. So for the loadout, this is the exact same loadout that we've been running the last couple of days. We got Strand subclass with Silk Strike, with Marksman Dodge, Triple Jump, Threaded Spike, and Threadling Grenades. Then we have Widow Silk and Threaded Spectre. Then we have Thread of Generation, Thread of Evolution, Thread of Binding, and Thread of Continuity. Then for my auto rifle here, we're running this one. Now, it doesn't have to be this one exactly. It could be something like Old Sterling or Kinetic one, because when you run a Solar or Strand subclass, you will match the active surge, and your kinetic weapons will do increased damage. Just know I'm only using this one because I have Hatchling on it, and I have like the God roll that I want. But feel free to use whatever you want in case you are a free-to-play player or whatever. You know, you just don't happen to have the same weapons as me. Just know you can use alternative weapons. But this is what I'm going to be using for barrier auto rifle to break barrier shields and make this a little easier. Now for the second weapon, we have the Monarch Avoid Bow. And this one is going to be for overload champion, so we can stun. And even from long range, dealing with red health bar enemies or just any enemy in general, we're going to be able to do tick damage with the corrosive arrow, poisonous arrows I should say. And I do have the catalyst unlocked, so it will give me unrelenting, which is rapidly defeating targets, triggers health regeneration. So that's going to be very useful, especially if we're getting one shot or something like that. If I get a kill with the bow, it may give me unrelenting, and then that will allow me to get to full health. So that's pretty useful. For the heavy weapon, Circular Logic, it's my go-to heavy. You can run a grenade launcher if you want for the DPS and stuff like that. However, in my opinion, you just can't hold a whole bunch of heavy grenade launcher ammo, especially if you're going to be doing damage against champions up close. You kind of have to watch out for that, because you might end up, killing yourself if you do too much damage up close with the explosive, damage and everything. So I'm going to stay with Circular Logic for this one, just with Shot Swap and Hatchling. Hatchling is mainly what I prefer with this, just because you can, use those threadlings to do increased damage. And we are going to be taking advantage of the Nanotech Tracer Rocket origin trait, having a little bit of extra damage with the Seasonal Artifact mod. We're going to get into that in a little bit. Now for the armor, we have Ashes to Assets on the helmet, which is you gain bonus super energy on grenade kills, Strand Siphon, Rapid Strand Weapon Final Blow to create Orbs of Power, and then Void Siphon, Rapid Void Weapon Final Blow to create an Orb of Power, and another Strand Siphon mod. I do want to show you, one is a artifact mod, as you can see here, Void / Strand Dual Siphon. This one is from the artifact, and this allows you to put two Siphon mods into one. And then Harmonic Siphon will just match whatever your subclass element is and give you that Siphon mod. So you can see I'm on Strand, that's why I have an extra Strand one. But if I go to Stasis, you're going to see here it's going to give me Stasis, Void, and Strand. And then if I go to Void, you're going to see I'm going to have two Void, one Strand. So you kind of get the point there. Now, when it comes to the arms, we have firepower. Your grenade final blows create orbs of power. Grenade kickstart. When your grenade energy is fully expended, you gain grenade energy. Then additionally, your armor charge is consumed and you gain additional grenade energy for each stack. Then we have fastball, increases grenade throw distance. And again, fastball is not that important. We're using threadling grenades, so it doesn't really matter. I just have fastball on just because it's the only option. Now for the chest piece, this is where I have my damage resistant mods on. You can see 2 void, 1 arc. Now you can switch this up if you want. If you feel like you don't want to worry about the arc pools that the enemies have when you kill them, the Vex enemies, you could put on solar just because the overload in the first room does do a lot of solar damage. But in my opinion, I was able to get it done relatively easily with void and arc on, but make those changes however you want. But that's going to do it for the chest piece. Now we have the leg piece over here, the leg armor I should say, and this is where we're using the exotic Star Eater scales. And this lost sector is a little tricky just because if you kill the boss too fast, you will have to deal with champions and stuff like that afterwards. And then if you are doing the lost sector, you do want to go and kill every enemy to increase your chances and stuff like that when it comes to the rewards. So depending on what you want to get from this lost sector, using Star Eaters is either a benefit if you just nuke the boss straight up with a 1 phase, or if you hold off, it's completely up to you. But Star Eater scales will allow you to do whatever you want. So Feast of Light is the main exotic perk here, which is once you charge up your super, then you can pick up 4 more extra orbs to get Feast of Light times 4, and then that will just give you maximum damage output with your super. So the goal here is to pretty much use these siphon mods, the Strand, Void, and Strand siphon mods, to do damage with our weapons, get kills, and then we're going to get orbs to drop. Those orbs are going to pick up not only to give us benefits for the exotic here, because we're going to charge up our super faster, but then also overcharge our super with it. And then we're going to take advantage of better already. Your health begins to regenerate immediately after picking up an orb of power. Strand weapon surge. Your strand weapons gain a small bonus to damage while you have any armor charge. Your armor charge not decays over time. And void weapon surge, which is the same thing but for void weapons. So this is pretty much your core gameplay loop. Get kills with your weapons, and just to show you, Strand and Void Siphon, we have a Strand weapon, a Void weapon, and a Strand weapon. So no matter what weapon we use, we're going to be generating orbs very, very easily without having to do too much. And then we also have getting kills with our grenades are going to give us bonus super energy. Getting grenade final blows, create orbs of power. So you can see we're generating a lot of orbs without doing too much. And when we pick up those orbs, we're going to fill up our super. Then we're going to get Feast of Light times 4. That's going to allow us to have maximum damage. And then when we do pick up those orbs, not only are we going to get healed, but we're also going to have our weapons do increased damage for a little bit. So again, a lot of stuff going on without having to do too much, which is ideally the best setup to have. Now for the cloak, we have 2-time dilation mods. So decaying armor charge has a longer duration, and then bomber, which reduces grenade cooldown when using your class ability. Now getting into the seasonal artifact, make sure you have anti-barrier auto rifle. That way you can break those barrier shields with your auto rifle. Then the Void/Strand dual siphon combo mod, you can see it combines the Void and Strand siphon mods into one. If you're following this build and then you really want this, that way you can take advantage of those 2 siphon combos in one. Origin perk specialization 1, it just greatly improves the benefits provided by nanotech tracer rockets, and that's really all we want because that is our heavy weapon we're going to be using, so we might as well get a bonus to that. Now one thing I do want to note is you can put Origin perk specialization 2 as well. So it says weapons with the nanotech tracer rockets are always overcharged when that modifier is active and stuff like that. So you can pretty much deal with that however you want. It's completely up to you. I didn't find it too useful here just because the modifier isn't active and everything like that, so don't put it on now. But just know in the future, if you ever see that that's a chance that you can have some good synergy and stuff like that, keep an eye out for that. But I just don't have it on now. The Tangles perk here in this column is really good. The Strand weapon final blows have a chance to generate a Tangle. So remember, we have 2 Strand weapons, our auto rifle and our heavy. And then if you pair that with refreshing pickups, picking up a Tangle or elemental orb grants energy to your least powered ability. And then combatant final blows with Tangles or elemental orbs have a chance to drop special or heavy. So remember, not only are we using orbs to get all that stuff, but now we can also use Tangles to get kills with them and potentially get heavy or special ammo to drop. And it's going to help give energy to your least powered ability, which again is very easy to do. Just walk to the Tangle and pick it up and you should have no problem doing that. Then we're also having Elemental Fury. When stunned, champions take bonus damage from your abilities and elemental orb damage. And then I have Rapid Fire Ranger. I didn't unlock this until after completing the Lost Sector, so in the gameplay you're not going to see it. But I would recommend doing this when rapid precision hits against distant combatants weaken them for a short duration. So for example, like the boss, if you're far away, you just keep doing precision hits, it'll weaken them for a little bit. Something like a champion that could be really useful for if you just distance yourself for a little bit. But again, those are just my seasonal artifact mods. Feel free to change it up. Maybe if you're using a different subclass, obviously the tangles aren't going to work for you, so just, make changes where necessary. But this is just kind of, a blueprint to kind of, let you guys make changes to whatever you want. So that's going to do it for the loadout. We're going to get straight into the gameplay now. Alright, so we're loading in, and right off the bat, what I recommend doing here is try to get rid of all the red health bar enemies first. If you can, prioritize this guy on the right first, because he likes to hide behind that little frozen wall or whatever that's behind him. But then after that, make sure before you start to do damage on the boss, you pick up, or not the boss, the champion, you should go and pick up some orbs. That way you have that void weapon boost if you are using the monarch. And then you can see here, just make sure, if you can, throw your decoy down, shoot it, get those throwing grenades to go, and just kind of use your Le Monarch to stun again, then switch back to the LMG and just keep doing damage. If you practice it a little bit, you can get it down, but by no means is that like the only way that you can do it. That's just one thing I found interesting, at least, is when I did this like 2 times before recording this version of it, I ended up dying a couple times to the Overload champion there because of the solar damage he had on, so I don't know what was up with that. But here you can see that room right there is just pretty easy. Red Hellfire enemies, make sure you shoot that cube to unlock those Braytech soldiers. Then here all you have is like 3 Red Hellfire enemies and your first orange Hellfire Minotaur. And for that guy, I just recommend using your LMG. You can see I switch, get rid of the Minotaur, and then we move on. Again, make sure you're trying to generate orbs. Pick up any orbs, that way you can see my super is almost at max. And then we can get Feast of Light ready so we can overcharge our super. So you can see I go over here. Try to get kills with the Tangle, but it just does no damage, so that's whatever. I go, get some orbs. I'm about to be full on super, which is great. I just go and I throw this just to try to get another kill, but I knew that wasn't going to work. You can see I got my super in 1 minute and 45 seconds here. I already have Feast of Light ×1. And then what I recommend doing here is go after these snipers, I forgot what they're called. You're going to see them in a second. These guys, the Hobgoblins, because they're going to be pretty annoying. I just get rid of them, and then it's up to you whether you destroy the chambers for the Braytech soldiers. These are completely optional, but I just decided to do it. If you do decide to free them instantly, just be aware that they may be taking your kills and you won't be able to generate a lot of orbs, so just be careful with that. But once you pretty much start to control this room, it's pretty easy. They do help when it comes to doing damage to the barrier champion, which is great. You're going to see that in a little bit. But the room is pretty easy here. All you got to do is just add control. If you have throwing grenades, you can use them. I don't know why I was sitting on mine, but you can see the barrier champion does do a lot of damage. They start shooting them when there's no more AI to shoot for them. And then you can see over here, I can pretty much let them do all the damage and then just get the finisher. So I go like that. Again, pretty simple. We're already 3 minutes in and we're pretty much at the boss room. Now, one thing I recommend is when you get here is try to make sure you have as much Feast of Light as you can. You can see I only have Feast of Light ×1 because I did free those AI and they ended up taking most of my kills. So I was like, whatever, let me just try to generate orbs now so I can get some Feast of Light. I know I generated 1 orb there. I'm trying to generate as many as possible, so I switched to my heavy. And I wasn't doing it anyway because this wyvern enemy is super annoying. But I knew I got 3 orbs to drop right there, so I picked that up, used that to my advantage. And there's my Feast of Light ×4. And now I can pretty much play this however I want. So I go over here. And once you get rid of all these enemies in this room, the lights are going to change like you're seeing right now. And it's going to enter like some emergency protocol, whatever it's called. And you're going to notice the boss is going to spawn in the middle and you're going to have these Vex enemies. I like to play it right here just because if you play on like that rafter area where the AI are all in a circle, the splash damage from the void always ends up hitting you somehow. So I just like to play it back here to be safe. That way if I am one shot, you can see I can just run back here and be safe. But again, play this however you want. I was trying to just do damage for a little bit because I knew Overload Champion spawned. I just didn't remember when. So you can see I'm like, alright, let me just start doing some damage with my LMG. And I had more than enough ammo to do this with, to be honest. I was like, yeah, I can afford to waste some ammo, so let me just use it on the boss. And I was just waiting for the Overload Champion to spawn. You can see the boss ended up teleporting right here next to me, which I knew he was going to do. I just didn't know he was going to do it that quickly. So I waited until I was healed, and then I throw a decoy down just to kind of distract him. And then, I don't know why I was using the barrier rifle just because I remembered I can shoot through his little immune shield with it. And here you can see, I thought this overload was going to push me, but I guess I backed up too far and he just started to walk away. So that threw me off guard. I really wanted to get the overload kill so then I could pop my super on the boss. But you can see as the boss distanced themselves from me, I was like, okay, let me try to get this overload's attention, but without getting shot at by all these AI. And I didn't want to stun him up there because I wouldn't be able to hit crits and everything like that with his back towards me. So I was trying to grab their attention by shooting them with the assault rifle, and you can see the guy's just being annoying. Eventually he turns around, so I'm like, okay, follow me over here. And that way, once I stun him, I can do damage behind this wall without getting shot at by any more enemies. So I go and I pretty much just try to shoot the crit. And I don't know why. I kept feeling like that should have stunned. And you can see he's already healing. I don't know why it's a little inconsistent like that sometimes. It's pretty annoying. Because you can see here, I actually almost end up throwing another damage phase because he ends up healing again instantly. I don't know. That's just me. I don't know if I'm just, you know, nitpicking at that. But that was just super annoying. And after that, you can see here is where I reload. I'm making sure all my ammo is good. And I pretty much just go and pop super on the boss here. Now, I didn't know there was going to be a second set of overload champions, as you can see here. As I'm hitting him with the super, you can see I'm like, there's enemies spawning. And as I look to my left, there's an overload champion. So I was like, that's not good. But you can see here, just use your bow and then your LMG and you should be fine. You can see right here, boom, hitting crits, get the finisher. And that was pretty much it. The rest is just red health bar enemies, but would I recommend farming this lost sector? I mean, to be honest, it's up to you. I'm not a big fan of it, to be honest. It's not as bad as K1 Revelation or K1 Communion, all those, you know, moon lost sectors, but you know, it's definitely up to you. You can see a 6-minute, pretty much 7-minute run, in my opinion, is not horrible, but it's, again, up to you. If you found this useful, though, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Ring the bell so you don't miss another video. Drop a follow on my Twitch, twitch.tv/monkishjam0. I'm going to be going live later on today with some Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 DMZ. So if you're interested into that, feel free to drop by. But a playlist with all my Season of the Witch Lost Sector guys will be popping up on screen right now. And I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.